I'm just curious, that's all.
What are you doing with my...
What the hell?
Y'all are familiar with Sega, right? The video game publisher that's responsible for Sonic the Hedgehog, the Persona franchise, and the woman who made me start puberty. Both of them. You'd imagine that if a company as large and renowned as Sega wanted to do product placement within an anime, they'd go for, I don't know, a show that was actually marketable. It's fall 2011, right? An anime that would soon go on to become one of the most popular television shows ever was set to air. And in a convenient twist of luck, this very same show happened to feature an entire story arc that was heavily centered around themes of gaming, game consoles, game mechanics, etc. It was basically the perfect formula for some good old product placement for Sega if they really wanted to go down that road. But alas, shit can never be that easy, can it? Even though 2011 Sega was fresh off the release of hit games like Sega Bass Fishing, I doubt that the cost of immortalizing their brand in the Hunter x Hunter episodes was something that they had space for within their budget at the time, and so in an effort to capitalize on that sweet product placement, Sega decided to go for the next best option. A different battle shonen. No, not that one. Not that one either. Down, yeah, there we go, a little to the left. Yup, yeah, that's the one right there. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce y'all to Bento. Bento is a 2011 school life / battle shonen series about high school kids that squabble in the back of grocery stores. I swear that I can't make this shit up, bruh. This prototypical looking anime boy right here is our protagonist, a kid named Yo Sato. Sato is just a regular teenage boy entering his first year of high school at this prestigious boarding school, and like any teenage kid that barely has any paper to their name, one of Sato's first concerns upon arriving at this school is, yo, what the fuck am I gonna eat? Now, me personally, when I was Sato's age, I blew nearly every dollar I had on lunchroom chicken tenders. And so trust me when I say this, bro, I feel Sato's pain on a personal level. I too know what it's like to walk into that lunchroom with nothing but George Washington in a dream. And so honestly, I can't even really blame Sato for his behavior throughout the rest of this series. Is what I would say if this anime was not absolutely fucking insane. During his first night at boarding school, Sato goes to his local grocery store to see what he can scrape up for supper, and to his surprise, at the back of the grocery store, he sees a rack filled with pre-cooked bento dinners, all of which are marked down to half the price. Now in Sato's mind, he just hit the jackpot, right? His parents only gave him a limited amount of money to spend on food while he was off at school, and so these half-price bentos right here, they could quite literally be his ticket to good eating for the remainder of the school year. Unfortunately for Sato, the Wolves had other plans in mind. The Wolves, also known as Bento Brawlers, are a loosely associated group of rambunctious, mentally ill teenagers that host a nightly battle royale fight club in order to determine who gets to go home with a half-price bento on any given night. Sato, being entirely unaware of the Wolves' existence, ends up getting his shit kicked in for 2 days straight before finally realizing that something erroneous is going down at the back of these grocery stores. After his second day of getting jumped, Sato ends up meeting the strongest wolf on the west side of town, Sin Yarizui, aka the Ice Witch. The Ice Witch is, simply put, absolutely insane, bro. Like, excuse my lack of vocabulary here, bro, but there is simply no other words that I could fathom at the moment to describe this anime other than insane. Ice Witch somehow has enough grown man strength in her 5'2", 115-pound body to spin kick Sato down an entire grocery store aisle, and bear in mind, this is like a relatively low tier feat for her in the grand scheme of the show. Like, this is literally an episode 1 tier feat. After meeting the Ice Witch and realizing that she's a second year at his same school, Sato and this other girl that he met named Oshiroi end up joining the Ice Witch's after school club, the Half-Price Food Lovers Club. And throughout the next 11 episodes of this series, we follow the journey of Yo Sato as he endeavors to become a full-fledged bento brawling wolf under the tutelage of the Ice Witch herself. Yeah, this shit is very dumb. As if the core concept of handing out CTEs for half-price salmon bentos wasn't already dumb enough on its own. The rest of the characters in the bento world, even outside of just the wolves and the bento brawling circuit, the rest of the characters are also very dumb. Take for example Oshiroi, Sato's best friend, who's kind of a bento brawler. Oshiroi will pull up to a bento brawl every now and then, but she spends most of her time on screen being an absolute freakazoid and working on her erotic Wattpad novel that is not so loosely based on Sato and some of the other bento brawlers in town. Honestly bro, if this was IRL, Oshiroi's deviant behavior would most definitely be grounds for school expulsion due to harassment, but since this is the Bentoverse where crime is not only accepted, it's welcomed, no one really fucking cares. Even if someone did care enough to report Oshiroi to the authorities, the closest thing that this allegedly prestigious boarding school has to an administration is yet another character that makes you wonder what strain the author was smoking when he wrote this. Umeshira Ume is the student body president of the boarding school that the characters in this show attend. When she's not busy giving into her romantic obsession with Oshiroi by stalking her or randomly kidnapping her on multiple occasions, she can be found beating the all-living dog shit out of Sato simply due to the fact that Oshiroi has taken a liking to him. Even though she's probably the second best fighter in the whole series next to the Ice Witch, Ume doesn't bento brawl. Instead, she reserves her impressive martial arts prowess for the sole and exclusive purpose of humiliating Sato. And even though having Sato's abuse as a consistent plot point in this series is absolutely insane work in the writing department, I'm not even gonna lie bro, you kinda gotta respect the pure dedication that Ume shows to hating on Sato. Like, as a trained hater myself, I can respect her game. Perhaps the most egregiously written character in this entire series is another one of the bento brawling wolves, Ayame Shaga. Now on the surface there really isn't that much wrong with Ayame, right? Like, at first glance she appears to just be another mentally ill teenager that also happens to enjoy flirting with Sato. Yeah, she's his cousin. So we're just gonna leave all that at that. There is this whole ecchi element to the series that I honestly just skipped through because I'm not gonna lie, I'm too grown to be watching some damn high school kids acting demonic on my screen. But I did want to at least bring it up in my review of the series because I don't know, bro. I just find it funny imagining a Sega executive watching this shit and signing off on it. Like, yeah, that one scene where the main character is being flirted on by his cousin, go ahead and throw our iconic children's mascot in the background for that scene. I'm sure the parents are gonna love that one. About a third of the show's runtime is just goofy, stupid school hijinks that are honestly kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. Personally, I like watching shows like these in dub. I've always found that the comedy bits in anime land a lot better when they're dubbed and the humor is localized, but I don't know, bro. Do niggas still act like you deserve crucifixion for watching dub, or have we left that whole dumbass argument back in 2016? The other 2/3 of the show, and by far the best thing that this show has to offer you as a viewer, are the actual bento brawls themselves. A pretty common consensus that I see being shared among the fans of fighting anime is that even though we all enjoy seeing like superpowers and beam clashes and all that fantasy shit, what we really all want to see in our fighting anime is that sweet hand-to-hand combat, bro. There's just something that goes so unbelievably hard about watching anime characters exchange fisticuffs with a level of speed and precision that is literally unattainable IRL, and the fight scenes in Bento actually scratched my itch for that style of fight scene perfectly, since most of the skirmishes in this show consist exclusively of unarmed melee combat, save for like a character or two that'll use literal shopping items as weapons. I guess Sega must have had them animators up at David Production eating good at the office, bro, because almost every fight scene that we get in this series is unironically impressive as hell from an animation standpoint. The action sequences that we get in Bento are strung together in a manner that feels way too good for how unserious this show is, and honestly it just adds to the hilarity of the experience that is Bento, because if the insane characters or the various Sonic the Hedgehog cameos weren't enough to get you rolling, I feel like the fact that all of these beautifully animated Sakuga ass fight scenes take place in the back of a literal grocery store should be enough to at least get a chuckle out of you. Or, well, I guess most of the fights, I should say, take place in the back of a grocery store. One of the fights takes place in a water park pool, but apart from that, it's just straight up grocery stores. Anime has gotten pretty serious over the past decade or so, I would say. Just the other day, The Boy and the Heron became the second anime movie to ever win an Oscar, and I mean, that's just indicative of how far anime has come in regards to being taken seriously as a form of storytelling here in the West. Even niggas who don't really rock with anime have been kind of forced to acknowledge it over the past 5 years or so. Sure, anime isn't something that's gonna appeal to everybody. I think shows like Bento are the literal embodiment of that being the case. You gotta be a specific type of dumb to enjoy this show. But even with its limited appeal, it's becoming an increasingly rare occurrence to hear people unironically making the all anime are trash or all anime are for kids arguments that you'd hear so frequently in the past. Anime on a global scale is being taken more seriously than ever, and as a consequence, I feel like an increased level of seriousness has gone into the production of anime. Many of the most famous, most widely talked about anime in the world have been broken down and analyzed into pieces. Every single little nook and cranny of what their author put on the page being dissected and scrutinized for some deeper meaning or some philosophical takeaway. And as much as I think this is a positive trend in the long run, I'm not gonna lie, bro, I kinda miss the dumb shit, bruh. I miss the goofy ass localized dubs that were borderline parodies of their source material. I miss having shows like Bento where the entire production from premise to execution is just this goofy ass concept that stands on its goofiness, bro. No life lessons, no serious commentary. The most serious moment in Bento is literally just Sato's stomach growling so loudly that it inspires everyone in the store to fight for half-price bentos. That shit is stupid as hell. Is a school life ecchi harem battle shonen about fighting in the back of a grocery store for kids meal-sized portions dumb as hell? Yes, absolutely. I will not deny it. But is Bento a genuinely charming show that I would recommend you take just a bit of time out of your day to give a chance? No.